सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। So we are on chapter 10, and last week we did 33. Yes, we finished 33 last week, and just the English translation of the verse that we did last week was, among letters I am letter A. Among all compounds, they're talking about Sanskrit grammar, the sandhi. I'm the dual, that was dvandva, equal importance to both words. I'm verily the inexhaustible or the everlasting time. It's talking about the infinity part of the time. I am the all-face dispenser of fruits of action, having face in all directions. So it's like all-pervading aspect of Bhagwan he was talking about in this language. And then he's also the giver of fruit of action. And we have done a lot about fruit of action in Bhagavad Gita, that your adhikar is only on karma and not on fruit of action. It comes from higher. They evaluate what you're supposed to get, not what you fancy, what you're going to get. So this is how it goes. So that was the last one. Today we are doing verse 34, and that is Mrityu sarvaharashchaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam kirti shrivakcha narinam smritir medha dhritir shama. So Mrityu, everybody knows, death. Sarva hara, if we break the word, we will understand what it's saying. Sarva means sab kuch. Har means har lena. It takes away everything. That's what it means. All devouring. Not to scare you, it's a fact of life. So it's he's saying, I am that Mrityu, which takes away everything. Cha is and, aham is I, udbhava. So udbhava matlab koi cheez aise manifest hona. So there are two different ways they have explained, and we will see both the contexts. Both have some value, but I like one of it, which says that when Bhagwan says I am Mrityu, then he is on the other side also. He's Janm also. Udbhava is something coming out in the future. That's what it means. Yahan prosperity bola hai, because they are connecting it to a positive thing. But anything that comes manifest or is born, or temporarily, of course, that also comes from Bhagwan. Cha is and bhavishyatam, of those who are to be prosperous, means it is talking about udbhava bhavishyatam, jo aage aane wala hai. That kirti, fame, which is in the Western world, it's a big thing, being famous. Shri, prosperity. That's the meaning of, we use Shri for everything, in Naam ke bhi aage, Shri Krishna, Shri Rama, and all that. Shri means prosperity, and we'll see more detail. Vak is speech. Cha is again and. Nari Naam. Nari is feminine. These are feminine quality, and we'll go in depth of it. It doesn't mean that these quality men don't have. It's not like that. But they are just in grammar, they are, feminine. That's one way to look at it. Smriti, the memory. Medha, intelligence. Dhruti is firmness, fortitude. And we'll go more in detail. Kshama, everybody knows, forgiveness. So these are all Bhagwan's vibhuti. So anybody expresses that, they are expressing Bhagwan's vibhuti. So let's go to the first one. Mrityu sarvahara. So he's saying that I am that death that takes away everything. So among those who take away everything, I'm death. Sab haran karne wala. So basically Bhagwan is saying that it's a very powerful thing, because whatever we are holding dear to us in our life, 1 second everything is gone. When mrityu comes, kuch bhi ho, bangla, gaadi, ghoda, bank balance, nothing remains with you. Everything is taken away from you. That's how it is, So Nikhilananji was very funny. He said that Mrityu does not require any papers. Signed. Meri property mein kiska de, nothing like that. Just takes it away within seconds, within no time. And then all that we consider is my. Mera hai, that kind of thing. वो सब ले लेता है. And then what is left though? It's important. You say, hey, if everything is taken away, why should I strive for anything? No. There is something it cannot take away. What is that? Our sanskaras, because that go in the next life. So that's what he was. We don't think about these things, okay? So that's what it was. So whatever we have developed, the good qualities, all these qualities that Bhagavan are mentioning, those are the important ones because the impression of that will stay with you. That's what it is. That you cannot take away because it will go with you. So you will carry that in your next life. But, property and all the superficial thing he was talking about, they are left behind. And then very interesting, he kind of analyzed, which we don't think about. He said, Nikhilanandji, that the superficial knowledge that we have, वो भी छूट जाता है पीछे. ऊपर से कुछ knowledge होता है ना, वो भी. And because sometimes what happens is even spiritual knowledge, we might just listen. प्रवचन सुनते जाओ, किताब पढ़ते जाओ, and superficially you know everything, you become a pandit and all that. He's saying that that's not going to be with you. So if you have not contemplated upon it, so contemplation में वो थोड़ा deep जाएगा, of course. Really deep जाएगा when you meditate upon it. we don't think about these things. So once you just hear it, it is totally on the surface of your mind, right? You contemplate, it goes into the subconscious mind, they call it. So it will come out within this life. If you want it to go to the next life, then it has to go in unconscious mind, he calls it. Deeper than that. You contemplate and meditate upon it. And then it will carry to the next life. So that's what the most important thing. So he's saying that whatever you do in this birth, if it's superficial, we know it. Once we quit, we come back, we have to start with ABCD again. We could have 2 PhDs in this life that aren't going to do anything for us, Then they're not going to come in next life and say, hey, I got PhD in previous life. I'm already can become a professor. No, you can't do that. Go back, So it was an interesting point it was. So whatever is deep, that's important. So he was just saying that how death is very, very powerful. So, and the funny thing is that there is the biggest ashcharya of the world, and we are all victim of that. Everyone is dying. We know it. Everybody dies. But I have a feeling I will not die, or I will remain here for a long time. So, and I think that was one of the, whoever knows about Mahabharata stories, Yaksha Prashna was there. Between Yudhishthira and conversation between that Yaksha. Yaksha said, if you better answer all these questions, otherwise I'll not make your brothers alive and all. I won't go too much in detail. Some of you might know the story. And one of the questions the Yaksh asked him, सबसे बड़ा आश्चर्य क्या है दुनिया में? तो उसने यही बोला था कि सब लोग मरते हैं मगर सब लोग को लगता है मैं तो नहीं मर सकता. Something like that, We are not ready to think about it. That's what actually means. We kind of know it, but we don't want to think about it. That is Ashcharya. So he was just reminding us. So what he was saying, Nikhilanandji, that we should do what is the most important thing quickly. Not urgent. He kind of separated. Urgent is like, oh, I have to go and get my grocery, okay? All that other big list, to-do list, we make it urgent. Fine, go do that, whatever you need to. But don't ignore the very important thing. That's what he was saying. So he's saying that Shankaracharya ji, we all know, I've talked about it, Bhaj Govindam. And the whole story about why he wrote Bhaj Govindam, because he saw a really old man sitting and memorizing some grammar of the Sanskrit language. तो उसको बोला ये क्या कर रहा है, उसकी एक टांग मृत्यु ने पकड़ रखी है तो भी he is not thinking of God, he's thinking of grammar. That's why he wrote that Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Moodamate. Means, oh, foolish man, connect to God rather than this. So that's what it was. He's saying that when Kal comes, all worldly knowledge, all that will not save you. So what is going to save you? Your love for God, your knowledge of God, and all the sadhana you have done, and all the progress you have done. That alone will be helpful for you. And because he was just saying, rest, everything will be, even if you have done the greatest thing in the world, suppose, you will become part of history. And he's saying the funny thing is, when you are reborn again, you won't remember that history yourself. I don't know what I've done in my previous life, So that's what he was saying. You will be reading about your own history. He was just joking, yeah, So that's what it is basically. So he's saying that don't waste too much time on the temporary thing. You try to find out knowing yourself. Remember, we were talking about who am I? This is an opportunity in every life you should not miss, and consider that very, very important. Okay, and some of the other deeper symbolism about death, it is like death is inevitable end of all beings. Okay, by saying, Bhagwan is saying, I am death, Krishna reveals that he is the final power that takes away all, regardless of any form, fame, or anything like that. Like that we have to say. And I think it was Steve Jobs who said, I heard, you must have heard his, some of the, not talk, bolna chahiye, yeah, he said few things before he died, because he had cancer and he was in the hospital and all that. And he said that death is one destination we all share. We may be going on vacation here or sab alag jagah ja rahe, but death is a destination. I think that was such a powerful statement. It always stayed with me about him. So, and then other symbolism on this death, when Bhagwan says I'm death, the word sarvahara emphasizes the absolute power of death. Okay, because everything it takes away. We discussed that. And then the other thing was that we talked about Kala, and he talks about again Kala so many times, and in that when we go to chapter 11, verse 32, he said, I am the Kala and all that. So here that aligns with it, this particular thing that Bhagwan is saying about it. And then what it serves as to us, the symbolism, reminder of the impermanence of the material world. That's the main symbolism we want to take from here. And that's why we want to spend more time in connecting with God. So that was a part of Sarva Hara Mrityu. The next one is Udbhava Cha Bhavishyatam. So there were two approaches taken. So now that Bhagwan has talked about death, so he doesn't want to be just make us, I'm death and that's it. No. I'm death and birth both. It's saying, two sides of the same coin. That's why he's talking about this Udbhavaja Bhavishyatam. Whatever is going to come in the future, whatever is going to become prosperous, great, anything that is going to happen in the future, consider it my vibhuti. I'm kind of source of all that, what is going to come also. So suppose if you take the prosperity approach, then certain points come out that when somebody attains greatness in the world, which is going to attain greatness in the future, whatever is glorious, whatever is great, it should be considered as Bhagwan's vibhuti. So then that ego will not rise, This is Bhagwan's vibhuti, like that we see. And then it brings a humility in our life when we think of this vibhuti, that he is the one who's expressing. It's Bhagwan expressing through me because I'm a good instrument, like that. So without Bhagwan, there is no greatness like that. And so the other points about this was that Bhagwan is saying that I'm death and I'm the birth of those who are to be, जो आने वाले हैं. So जो भगवान ने बोला ना पहले, that what is the very good definition of Brahman? Brahman is that from which everything arises, sustains, and dissolves in it. So that idea over here again is expressed in this way. I'm Kala and I'm Udbhava, source of origin of all beings. So that's what it's saying, yet to come. So basically the other way we can approach this is, he is the creative force, the seed of all the future thing. He's the seed for future thing, And this, so cycle jo hota na, manifestation, sustenance, and annihilation, that cycle, this words pair with it, this first line of this verse, that cyclic sense it tells you, So both Krishna is both beginning and the end, and of course the middle to hoga hi fir. Any question, comment on this particular thing? Mrityu, Sarvaharash? Everybody okay with what he's saying? Okay. And then he talks about 7 qualities, which are feminine qualities. And he says, starts with Kirti, Shri, Vak, Smriti, Medha, Dhruti, and Shama. So these are the 7 things he talked about, that he's saying these are my vibhuti. And Nikhilananji was funny. He said that he did not mention, usually, like they will say, man should do this or something, and we just say man, purush, ye wo, women ko nahi bola hai. To bola, yahan par Bhagwan ne ekdam saath mein bol diya 7 things. Women should be so happy. But as we said, these are just because in grammar they are like feminine gender hai grammar mein iske liye, but this can be, there's nothing to do with gender. Anybody can have these qualities. So just keep that in mind. It's not. And then the other thing is from Puranic story point of view, which I kind of didn't know, and I learned that Bhrigu Rishi and Kashyap Rishi, remember they were the Sapta Rishis from where everybody came, So, and Brahmaji also. इनके भी कई मानस पुत्र और पुत्रियां थी वगैरह वगैरह. तो ये जो 7 है ना, ये सब उनकी बेटियां हैं. These qualities are there, in the original, these people from whom we have come. That's how we got these. So these are the names of their daughters in Puranic stories, which is kind of interesting. And so first one is what? Kirti. So Kirti means what? Fame. So fame, we cannot think of fame as like any kind of fame. No. Here when we are talking about vibhuti, it's a fame by doing something good. Because I think in the Western world, वो क्या बोलते हैं, कोई सीरियल किलर भी होता है उसको भी फेमस बना देते हैं. Movies बन रही है उसके ऊपर, that guy, he's killed people, now he's getting rich. Something crazy, not like that. So fame means good fame. That you have done something good in your life and then you have become famous. And not by some trickery or some kind of negative thing. Some kind of seva you have done for humanity and things like that. So that's what this thing is. And then it just means positive reputation, honor earned through righteous act. Basically, that's what it is. And the next one is prosperity, Shri. So we have heard this word Shri so many, like I say, Shri and Shrimati, we always say. What does it mean? All-round prosperity. So it's just not in wealth, कि भाई कोई बहुत rich है उसको Shri है. No. It is like prosperity, beauty, grace, all the things, good righteous qualities that you have developed in yourself, वो सब Shri में आ जाता है, And it's not just like the wealth, but aura and attractiveness of that, whatever you have gained, spiritually, righteously, and things like that. And then Nikhilananji's, as I said, sometimes he says interesting things which are kind of makes you contemplate. He's saying some people may be very wealthy in like material things. Bangla, gaadi, jo bhi hai, unke paas paise waise bank balance. But he's saying they are very, very poor people. Why? Because they don't have those good, virtuous quality, So he calls them poor rich person, And then it can be talent also with when we say Shri. Some people have a lot of different kinds of talents. And then he was saying that with the material wealth, you also need some punyas to enjoy it. Material wealth. Otherwise, what happens is that you have a lot of wealth, but you are not enjoying it. You are actually suffering because of it. That also can happen, that some people have a lot of wealth, but they are, because of their wealth, a lot of fights are happening, this is happening, we know all the different kind of things. So that's what he was trying to say. So here they're talking about prosperity from all sides, to person to become a vibhuti. And then he was just saying that I mentioned that already, that in our culture, this is a very important word, Shri, because we use it for all the great people. Bhagwan ke liye bhi Shri Ram, Shri Krishna, that's how we say. For women also, we will put Shri. Or kahin ka to khali Shri naam hota hai. Shri Devi, that actress which was there, because Shri means like Lakshmi. Lakshmi ka dusra naam hai Shri, all kinds of prosperity and all that. So that's how we have to look at the Shri. And next comes Vak. So Vak means speech. So how do we analyze this as a Bhagwan's Vibhuti? Good speech. Ability to speak the truth. To speak gently. Speak with the welfare of people on the whole world also. And yourself and welfare of the world. So you can say the power to articulate meaningful, truthful speech. And then we know that there is a Saraswati ko bhi speech ki goddess bola gaya hai. Like, बोलते हैं अपनी जिह्वा पे, विराजमान होती हैं. When we are saying good stuff, तो सरस्वती देवी विराजमान है, ऐसे करके we have, say. And there it seems that there is a goddess Vak also in some of the Puranic story, Vedic deity of speech, they call it. So another Sanskrit word for speech is Vani, right? So that's again, you can say the Saraswati Vani ki Devi and all that. So that is my Vibhuti, Bhagwan is saying. So if a person is speaking well and he becomes helpful to himself and the world, and he is articulate, then it is Bhagwan's Vibhuti. So anytime you hear great speeches in the world, think of Bhagwan's Vibhuti. That's how we see it. Because there are a lot of good speakers. And now with the AI, it was like sometimes it's kind of sad that somebody has written a very good speech, but they put falsely somebody else's name on it and somebody else's voice. Like this one was floating around was Elon Musk's voice, but it had a good content in it, but it kind of messed it up because they, that's like a cheating. Usne bola nahi bola, uska naam dal diya, uski awaaz dal di. They don't need to do that. But anyway, I'm just bringing that. It was a good speech though. So that's articulate, whoever wrote it. This is Bhagwan's Vibhuti. Next one was Smriti. Smriti means memory. So whatever we learn, we have to remember that. So another way of looking at Smriti is the ability to recall. Recall, especially the Shastras and the past experiences. So hota hi hai. In the worldly sense, memory is a very important thing. But in this context, we can say besides the worldly things, recalling the past experiences, sacred knowledge and all that. So whatever we have learned, we should be able to remember. Nahi to, again, Nikhilanandji's funny thing came about. He said, आगे पाट और पीछे सपाट हो जाएगा नहीं तो कुछ नहीं बचेगा. So he's saying that we can keep on learning new things, but we can't forget what we have learned yesterday or before. Because he was saying that Vedanta, it's like a little complicated. On one hand, it's very simple. Tat Tvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. But until we have that experience, those words don't mean anything. Right? And to get that experience, you have to learn so many things, and the path is shown. So he was talking about, that's how I felt when I was reading Bhagavad Gita or studying it or try to understand it. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle. Every time you hear something, you put the piece of the puzzle. And when the picture is complete, he's saying that Nikhilanandji is very funny. He's saying your own face will be smiling back at you because you will know yourself. Okay, so I thought that was a very good thing. So many pieces are there, and it has to be joined together. So every time you learn something, like from a verse also, it's you have a piece of a puzzle, and if you don't join it together, it won't make much sense. Okay, so he's saying that sometimes somebody just comes for one pravachan out of, say, suppose somebody has a Gita thing going, and they only come for one class. And then they hear something and they say, I don't know what they're saying. I don't understand anything, I don't know what to do with this knowledge. Because not connected with the previous stuff. So that's what it is. It should be connect with what we are. I thought that was very important, he said, even about Bhagavad Gita, that all these verses, each verse is like a piece and you have to piece them together. Sometimes it's a repetition, sometimes there's a connection, and then in the end you have to take it holistic. You cannot take just one thing separately because little knowledge is a dangerous thing. And the biggest mess that I have seen happen over the history in India is about the caste system. कितना उसका रूप बिगाड़ा है, and भगवान ने उसको एकदम different ढंग से बताया. It depends on your mind makeup, what profession or how you will be acting in the world, and it's not a fixed thing anyway, and it is not by birth. Krishna Bhagwan never said it's a guna and karma, he said. What your mind makeup is, what kind of actions you do, that determines who you are. So, but how they made a mess of it because they did not connect the puzzles properly. They didn't connect it to the guna. So I just wanted to bring that up. So we should have a good memory. And then just to have a proper context, there is some value in forgetfulness also. That we don't think about, but he's going to talk about it in later chapter. I think it is chapter 15, I'm not sure. So he talks about that, that suppose if something is not very good, it's better to forget it, or some sad past and all that, instead of churning on it again and again and again. So that's why remembering good thing is great, but you should have the ability to forget. And Bhagwan said, in 15th chapter he said, the word is apohanam, that he's saying, I am both memory and forgetfulness. That is also important even for spiritual growth, ability to forget. So remember and forget, it's like, again, two sides of the same coin. So he's saying that if you keep remembering sad stuff, then it's like an action replay, that it will hurt you. Okay. So, and then about memory or remembrance, he also said very famous lines of it, Mam Anusmaran Yuddhasya, means remembering me, you fight the war. So don't forget Bhagwan. When it comes to memory, that's the most important thing in our daily life, that we should not forget him. So he's saying that we do kind of ulta, unfortunately, that we have a good memory for all the non-important things in our life, and all the important things we forget about. So he was just trying to make us understand that we should not have, if non-important things you forget, nothing bad is going to happen. Main things you forget, then it will bring a lot of sorrow and things like that. And then he's saying that दुनिया में लोग गॉसिप बहुत करेंगे, किसने क्या बोला, कैसे बोला, वो सब याद रहता है, and in the प्रवचन में जो सुना, because he was giving प्रवचन, obviously, से प्रवचन में जो बोला वो भूल गए. I don't know what he said, लेकिन लोगों ने क्या बोला था प्रवचन के बाद एक दूसरे से, वो सब याद है. So he was just telling people, that what is important and all that. So I thought that was an interesting thing that he brought out. Let's see if there is anything. Okay, memory, it's all covered. Okay, then comes Medha. So Medha is it's something to do with our intelligence, but to analyze it correctly, what the exact word Medha means. कोई बोलेगा Medha means a very powerful, intelligent. What goes behind it? That's what we have to understand. So Medha means ability to grasp and understand when something is told. Okay, उसको बोलते हैं मेधा शक्ति. तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं इंग्लिश में? Intelligence or discernment. Discernment means the sharp intellect, the ability to understand, grasp and reason, especially in the scriptural context. Okay, Vivek buddhi जाग जिसकी हो ज़्यादा strong. Distinguish mentally, recognize as distinct or different or discriminate. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, real and non-real thing in the world. To be able to analyze and remember. All these things go together, all these qualities also. They are one kind of goes into the other one, connected with each other. That's what I was trying to say. So what he was saying, that this ability to understand and discern and have discrimination, he's saying there's a lot of computing that goes on in the brain. That computing power, as जैसे computer का एक होता है ना, जैसे ChatGPT, it can do it in one second something, but it is going very fast. Lot of fast things are happening in the brain also. So he's saying that to understand something fully, it requires a background. It requires memory, right? And all of that has to be supplied to us immediately at that time. See how it's all memory and all is connected? At the right time, and whenever we hear a sentence, we should be able to understand and grasp it. Ability to grasp. Usko bolte hain medha. नहीं तो he's saying that मेधा शक्ति पुअर होती है ना, तो फिर लोग the way they will say, oh मेरे को कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, जैसे sometimes our मेधा शक्ति थोड़ी down हो जाती है because we are tired or something, we read something, it doesn't go into our head. Remember those exam times, when you're getting very sleepy, tamas is coming, and then if I say, no, I think I need to first sleep before I can read this, and medha shakti down ho gayi. But that is just temporary medha shakti down. But suppose kisi ki bahut overall medha shakti down hai. So he said that I didn't know that there is something called medha suktam. You can chant that, he said. To people who believe in vibrations and chanting, there is some kind of hymns about increasing the Medha Shakti. So then you can also invoke the grace of Saraswati Mata to get the Medha Shakti more back. And all that. So that's Medha. Then he talked about Dhriti. So Dhriti means वो word धैर्य से आया है. धैर्य means perseverance. Ability to remain firm in our path, in our goal, in our duty. It can be worldly duty, it can be spiritual path, any kind of thing. Mental strength to endure and persevere in difficulties without wavering. Once I have this goal, not that first difficulty that come, oh, give up, I can't do it. No. Keep at it. Usko bolte hain. So, the way Nikhilanand ji analyzed it, that sometimes, we may be absolutely tired, weak, and we feel like giving up, and we feel like, oh my God, मैं तो एक कदम भी और नहीं आगे बढ़ सकती, something like that, whatever you're doing, He's saying in such circumstances, still to walk and continue moving, that's called dhriti, So this type of dhriti is required in the spiritual journey, he's saying, very important. Worldly cheez may be. I mean, all the successful people, if somebody goes and interviews them, you might think that their life is so easy, or they got name, fame, money, everything, and they're just sitting on some chair smiling at the world. फिर उनको जाके interview करते हैं तो पता चलता है क्या-क्या है उनके पीछे. They had to be so firm in their thing because itni difficulties आई, they didn't give up. That's why what they got. So that's what the dhruti, fortitude, steadfastness. There's so many words you can put in the dhruti. Together it makes it dhruti. Then he says that my vibhuti kshama, ability to forgive, forgiveness. So how forgiveness is explained? Somebody has to have a lot of patience to forgive also. The means to tolerate somebody's, even if they have done wrong to us. Because, it's easy to forgive, if मेरी गलती है. तो बहुत okay, yeah. नहीं, वो भी easy नहीं है. Ego आ जाता है. No, my way or the highway. But suppose अगर मेरी गलती नहीं है, किसी और ने गलती, उसको forgive करना, then वो भगवान की विभूति बन जाता है, So he was just saying that the way Nikhilanand ji analyzed this was that this ability to forgive and all that, not only in the worldly thing, दूसरों को, अपने आप को भी forgive करना is very important, because otherwise people, that guilt and all that, if you sit with it, you cannot spiritually progress, So our own past, we should be able to forgive and things like that. And our family members, of course. And I think that family में तो बहुत ज़रूरी है ये, नहीं तो वो बोलते हैं ना, रिश्ते बनाने में इतना टाइम लगता है और बिगाड़ने में 2 minutes लगता है, because egos come, they don't want to forgive. So if you want to keep the family together, I would say this is one of the most important thing. कुछ भी किसी ने किया हो, learn to forgive them. And then, of course, friends and neighbors, and everybody, whoever is in the world and all that. And somebody was saying, in our study group, we were discussing this forgiveness for a long time. And then finally the conclusion is, if you want to be peaceful, happy, and spiritually progress, Forgive everybody for everything. There is nothing to analyze over there. And if you really think about it, forgiveness is not that who are we to forgive other people, right? It's more for ourselves. That we don't want to keep some burden on our head. Otherwise, you keep thinking about it, So because the way Nikhilanji analyzed it very well, if you don't forgive, so you're retaining hatred in the heart, and that having the feeling that I have to punish somebody, they have done wrong to me, that is the kind of negative thing that is going to stay with you. So he was just saying that it's a very important quality, he also said. And we should try to develop it. And he called it an art. He's saying it's an art to do it. Science and art both. And he's saying people who don't have that art, they suffer for a long time. सभी का लेके बैठ जाएंगे अपने दिमाग में तो फिर यही होगा. And he's saying that, but दुनिया में if you देखो तो बोलते हैं कि कभी कभी ना ये not forgiving, they think it's something very great. So he was just talking about movies also. He's saying movies में ना, because he tries to bring some point, that's why he was saying. He's saying movies में कोई दिखाएंगे कि एक कोई लड़का है, young boy, he's saying मैं सौगंध लेता हूँ कि मैं इसका बदला लूँगा. हमने वो मूवीज देखी थी ना पुरानी वाली, इसमें जरूर बदला लूंगा मैं इसका. Then poor guy's whole life is बदला चुकाने में. That's all his goal is of life. भगवान को तो भूल ही गया वो. Whole life is gone बदला चुकाने में. Don't become like that. So he's saying that road पे भी ऐसा होता है, road rage. You don't even know that person, और वो कोई जल्दी में हो, कुछ हो, किसी ने तुमको overtake कर लिया तो you people have road rage. They want to forgive them and all that. Just practical thing he was bringing. So learn to forgive. So important quality. Let's see of anything important in forgiveness. Yeah. So that was the last one. So basically, all these are sattvic qualities in human beings, which are vibhuti of Bhagwan. They are personified as women, but he's saying that it can manifest anywhere. Okay, they are not limited. We already talked about it. Nothing to do with gender and things like that. It's just 7 different things that we should try to develop, and they are like as though Brahman's manifestation. For they are shaktis bolna chahiye ek taraf se. Shakti of Bhagwan. For what purpose? These shaktis are cognitive. Medha Shakti and all that, emotional. Good positive emotions and moral capacities in all beings, this dhriti, shama, these kind of things, and then some of the other analysis of it is that the 4 things, the smriti, medha, dhriti and shama. Smriti is memory, medha is that intellectual power, discernment, dhriti is fortitude, shama is forgiveness. They are essential for spiritual growth and spiritual learning. If you don't have these, you won't be able to. So that's why it is so important, these vibhutis. And then Madhusudan Saraswati is a great rishi from India. He called it Sapta Shakti, that in Bhagwan's inner power, in us, Bhagwan's vibhuti as inner power, for all positive expressions in our character, The wealth that we are talking about, that we should, righteousness that we should, that's what it is. And some other symbolism is that for the whole verse is that this verse reminds us that divine is not only in like the great grand things, but also in subtle mental qualities also, Bhagwan's vibhuti, emotional qualities and all that. And then also this verse highlights the cyclic nature of creation and destruction, by calling it Bhagwan's vibhuti. We went quite in detail about all these things. Any question or comment by anyone about what we talked about?
Just one little thing, Gurudev said, forgive and forget. That's where the forget, when you said forget, I said, that's where you need to forget.
Yeah, so because true.
Forgiveness is not just by saying it, but you mentally have to really let it go.
Let go, absolutely. Because I was just thinking now that you mentioned it, sometime, when people forgive, their ego can rise a lot too. Oh, yeah. I forgave that person, as though you are so great. Then again, that will shoot it down.
That is.
Yeah, so forgive and forget. Very good point. Yes.
One thing.
Mm-hmm.
And in a one sentence in here, where said, destruction leaves no total blank anywhere. That means there's a destruction. It's a continuous thing going on in the world. There's a destruction in one place, there's a birth in the other place. You know,
Yes.
even if you take the human destruction. Otherwise, there's so many different ways,
Yeah.
you know, people go. But there's always a growth somewhere else.
Yes.
So there's a continuous thing going on. It's not like one thing.
So true.
So
And sometimes, you know, like we may not understand how nature works also. You know, one thing is of a karmic thing that, you know, if you are polluting the nature will slap you back by doing certain things and all that. But there are other things which I was reading somewhere, that forest fires. Obviously, when somebody starts a forest fire by doing something idiotic, like starting some smoke fire or not, then the forest fire. No. But nature, when it does it, it sometimes has to clean some area. And they have some
Yeah.
places they do it on purpose, they burn it because of some growth and all they want to do. I don't know exact science of controlled fire, they call it, or something like that. So sometimes in the nature, things happen and then something great happens in the future, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this you know, cycle that happened, and we was, oh my god, what is happening and all that, but we don't know the bigger picture, even seasons and all that. You know, yeah, America may people talk a lot about the weather, you know. Oh, it's cloudy. Oh, it's it. Hey, you are not Indra Bhagwan. Why are you worrying about cloudy to cloudy? If it is sunshine, you know, just enjoy whatever there is. Constant analysis, you know, I cannot handle it. Why are you wasting your time? Because he is in charge. He knows when to make it cloudy and when to make it sunny. And funny thing is, if it's continuously sunny, again there's a problem. If it's continuously cloudy, again there's a problem. So there's a mixed. And human beings, cloudy होएगा तो बोलेंगे cloudy है, sunny है तो too much sun, too hot है. You know, they just can't take this bigger. We don't have the capacity to look at bigger picture. But the more you do it, you will be more at peace. That's what it is, you know. So, yeah, any other comment, question? Who would like to read Swamiji's commentary? Any volunteers? Anybody said anything? Falguni ji, Urmil ji, one of you would like to read?
You know, as usual, I'm still jet lagged.
Okay.
I came back from Africa, so it's like it's
Okay. I know that's far away, so we will.
foggy. Next time for sure.
No problem.
Yeah, and Umaji, my Gita is older
Okay.
version.
Okay, Meena ji, are you okay today, or yeah, you're okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Okay. And I am all devouring death and the prosperity of those who are to be prosperous. Among the feminine qualities, I am fame, prosperity, speech, memory, intelligence, firmness, and forgiveness. I am the all-consuming death. Death, the leveler, brings even the scepter and the crown to the level of the begging bowl and the staff. Every existing thing maintains its separativeness from all others only during its lifetime due to its individual relationship with things and beings other than itself. After death, the wise and the fool, the good and the bad, the strong and the weak, the ruler and the ruled, all come to the dust, leveled into a uniformity that recognizes no distinction within itself.
And Swamiji really said it. Like, nobody could have said it more stronger words. No matter who you are, you become one. And I had heard this, a very great saying, and I think I've shared it, but I'll share it again. He's saying, after the game of chess, everybody goes in the same box. Whether you are king, queen, or horse, or whoever. That was so good, you know. And then Swamiji analyzes that all this difference that you read, koi ऊंचा है, कोई नीचा है, कोई गरीब है, कोई you know, अमीर है, कोई बहुत पढ़ा लिखा है, कोई अनपढ़ है, you know, everything becomes same death levels it all. So it's so strong. It is, just unbelievable. Yeah. And then this scepter and crown is like, king. You're saying that to the level of begging bowl, because वो भी कितना भी वो beg करे उसको 1 minute का भी extra life नहीं मिल सकती है, like done with.
I'm the source of all that is to be. The Supreme is not only the mere destroyer of everything to a lifeless commonality, but he is certainly the source of all new creations that are to come in the future. To conceive destruction without taking into consideration the unavoidable accompaniment of it, that is, the new construction, is but a partial viewpoint. In the total and the complete vision of life as a whole, we find that the so-called destruction is only a transformation or modification of the existing form of an object or scheme of things into something dissimilar and varying. Destruction leaves no total blank anywhere. When we view a wave separately, we may say that after playing for a moment on the bosom of the ocean, it has destroyed itself. But if we view it from the standpoint of the ocean, for each wave which appears to have been destroyed, there are innumerable new waves that rise up, unnoticed by our limited power of observation.
So Swamiji put the whole thing into the right context, because when he talked about Mrityu Sarva Haraha, and when we talked about how it levels everything, we might get so dejected. It's like, oh my God, nothing hates. But wait, Bhagwan says, whatever is going to come in the future, that's my vibhuti too. So he's just reminding us that Mrityu is just one side of it. It's just transformation. Nothing is destroyed, transforming. And we know our subtle body is going to take birth again. And if we get moksha, oh my God, we'll become tattvamasi, aham brahmasmi ho jayega. Magar agar wo nahi bhi hua, so if you have done good things, you will be taking birth again. So nothing is lost. Just reminding that whatever is coming in the future, that also is. So don't get... I think even for Arjuna, when Krishna Bhagwan is talking, it's so scientific the way he said. First he told them, Mrityu Sarva Hara, then immediately he said that, Udbhava, Bhavishyatam, that whatever is going to come in the future, wo bhi meri vibhuti hai. Very, very important. And Swamiji gave such a beautiful example of a wave. That the wave is rising, and then we just look at the wave, it looks like, oh, it came and now it's gone, destroyed, died and all. Hey, it's just gone back and another wave is coming. It's the same water, think about it. Even scientifically we know. It's the same water coming as another wave. It's a beautiful example that he gave, absolutely, in my mind.
What you call a change, see, from a child, from a birth, a child to growing up, that is gone. The childness is gone. Now you've become, a teenager or something. Now you've grown to a youth and then a person. So that part is gone in our own life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that verse is there, that same exact verse is there in chapter 2 when Bhagwan was explaining, the continuity of our life, and he gave that example. He's saying just like childhood goes into youth. So ek tarah se hoga na, childhood khatam ho gaya. We don't say childhood died or anything, but khatam ho gaya, and khali memory reh gayi hai. Abhi hum sabka bhi yahi haal hai. Teenage or, whatever, when we were younger. So, and now we are at this age, and he's saying the same way the subtle body takes another birth. So that's why you should not grieve. Wise people don't grieve for people who die also, because they know that it is just like you change,
we change again, it's going to be a bigger change.
Yeah, yes.
We won't have the same form.
Yes.
But it'll be a bigger change. That's it.
Yeah. And also one more thing about death, that for some reason, when we talk about death, we only think about when we are actually going to die and the subtle body is going to get separated and all that. Final death, we think. But according to Chinmayananji, birth and death is happening continuously. Because in our body also, exactly what you said, you're leaving slowly one stage of life and going to another. That's one. Yes. Even cells of the body. They are dying constantly. New cells are being born.
Yes, yes.
Whatever cells you had 7 years ago, you're not going to have it today. So death and birth, they go hand in hand, and that's nothing but a change. You don't
Yes,
that's the most important thing he said in this, that we look at it as a death from the spiritual perspective, transformation and change. That's all it is. Yes.
We find that Krishna is gathering these ideas against the contrast contained in the immediately earlier statement. Altogether, the line stresses that the infinite playing itself, ceaselessly and in succession, the game of both destruction and construction is, in fact, what we call as the finite universe.
So here he's given the definition of this finite universe by talking about this first line, that it is that supreme is just playing itself. And I was just thinking that whoever, some of you have a little older grandchildren. Mine is still young, 4-year-old. And I gave him this old Lego box that I had saved it from my boys. And he comes every day and he makes something and he breaks it. He's so happy with it. But that's what he does every day. He makes something and he breaks it. That's what he's saying, that Bhagwan does. He's playing by this continuous...
It's his play.
Yes.
These are translators who would like to read the meaning prosperity into the word Udbhava in this line. This may be justified if we are in a grammarian's school. But in the philosopher's classroom, this meaning is quite removed from the direct import of the word, the source of all. In the context alone, can this second phrase in this first line serve as a beautiful answer and an echoing background for the first half in the same line?
So the reason Swamiji put that paragraph in there, because Udbhava has two meanings. One is, whatever is going to come in the future, source of all is Udbhava. Another meaning is prosperity. So some commentators have put prosperity as the context over here, but he's saying that if you go strict grammar rule, then maybe it is prosperity, but here it doesn't fit very well. That's why I like this, future, whatever is coming, source of all, the much better explanation. Because when it comes to these words in Sanskrit, you have to take the right context. Otherwise, you'll get the wrong meaning, or limited meaning rather. Prosperity is not really wrong meaning. It will be very limited meaning. So all he's saying is just like he said, Mrityu sarva hara and udbhava bhavishyatam. I take away everything, and then whatever is going to come, I'm vibhuti, source of all. That's how we should take it, he's saying.
Fame, fortune, speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience, am of the feminine qualities. The Sanskrit terms conveying these abstract nouns are all feminine in gender. Maybe the Lord means that if ever we find these qualities in women, we can perceive a flicker of clearer divinity than anywhere else. Again, the philosophical content of the line is perfect and beyond all criticism. It is not said that the person having these qualities is divine. Whoever be the person, and whatever be his past, when on occasions he expresses these qualities, we can perceive a clearer vision of life's glory through him.
So here Swamiji is firstly telling these are abstract nouns and all that, feminine qualities, but not, we have discussed it, it's not just related, because some कोई लोग झंडा लेके खड़ा हो जाएगा feminism का. Oh, Krishna Bhagwan said these are the qualities of the women, men don't have it, ये है वो है, पता नहीं क्या भी बोलना शुरू करेंगे. So he's telling that hey, that's not it. And then he's going even deeper. He's saying कोई आदमी दुष्ट भी होगा ना, अगर occasionally he is expressing these qualities, कोई एकदम दुष्ट तो होता ही नहीं है. हम लोग को ऐसा लगता है हमारे ईगो में, but actually people are mixed. So when these qualities do express through them, it's Bhagwan's vibhuti only expressing. That's all he's saying. That no matter where it expresses, in whom it expresses, good person, bad person in our eyes, if any of these are one or many or all, is Bhagwan's vibhuti, divinity. That's how we should look at it.
Would we not say, I mean, I'm just exaggerating maybe, the bad qualities are his too?
Well, bad qualities are not his. This is a good point you brought. And this is the example I gave. Bhagwan gave us ingredients. Go make a good khana out of it. If you make a ganda khana, it's your problem. You are contaminating it, with your own ego, own this thing. I say, Bhagwan said, no, I did not give you that. Sorry. It's your own doing, So that's what it is. If you go to the base of it, everybody has that divinity. That's the most important thing in our Vedanta, because it's not like you have to get something from outside. Each person has that divinity in them, but their own ego, their own negative things have made things bad for them. But that's the whole process of spirituality, is you are going back to basics. You are removing all the things that you have put on yourself, and the more peeling it off, So,
Right. But if you look at it, where did it occur? In the mind. And what happened to them? How did the mind work? It's because of that Brahman, right? So again, it comes to it that because of that, the qualities occurred. I mean, I thought because I could only think because of the consciousness in me, right?
True. But the question, what you are saying is, Bhagwan, I think somebody said that Bhagwan ne hamari memory, when we take new birth, right?
Yeah.
So just to make our life easy, he made us forget our previous lives.
Yeah.
That's one Shakti he gave, right? In a way, it is a blessing, especially for the people like us who cannot handle. All those sadhu sant and all, they remember their life, they can handle. हम लोग एक ही life का सोच के ही हम लोग ये हो जाते. But the second ability he gave us was of choice. Hey, you go this path or this path. So that choice is in your hand. And then, sometimes somebody had mentioned, I like that a lot, that Bhagwan in Bhagavad Gita told the whole science of life, he told Arjuna. He didn't kind of force him to, he did tell him, get up and fight. But in the end, in the chapter 18, whoever has finished the Bhagavad Gita, he told him, I have told you everything, now you choose where you want to go. He didn't even force Arjun. So that choice mein hum log galti karte hain, number one. And then how it is coming, it is something like, if you analyze it, why did all the negative qualities came into us? Because we forgot our nature, that we think we are limited being. And we just sit here in the world and then, I want, selfishness comes in your mind and all that contaminates. And somebody said, why did Bhagwan do that? There is another philosophical side to it, which we have discussed in many times. If you don't have black color, you don't appreciate white. If you don't have dukh, you don't appreciate sukh. एक आदमी को सब कुछ दे दो तुम, सुबह से शाम तक and all that, वो थोड़ी देर में दुखी हो जाएगा. He doesn't even know what it is to feel happy. So somebody said, the Brahman is trying to appreciate itself. That's why it made the world. It's a very interesting philosophy. I like that a lot. Like sometimes, when we, I want to go on vacation, we go and we feel happy for 3-4 days, and then these family members are saying, I'm missing my own bed, I'm missing my own pillow, I'm missing my own khana. Then you come back home and लगता है कि वो स्वर्ग में पहुंच गए थोड़ी देर के लिए. This is my home, my territory, because you have gone somewhere, right? Same thing like that. So many things are there,
Now I'm thinking of the quality discernment. That's also he gave us.
Yes, exactly. So that's why it's a puzzle. But Bhagwan intended us to be happy and make use of the good qualities. In that process, we do wrong things. But then when we do come back, we appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In short, these qualities which when manifest create such adjustments in the inner equipments in man that we can perceive through him more clearly the awful vitality of life's surge. As a transferred epithet, Lord the Self declares of the feminine qualities, I am any one of these or all of them put together. On the wall in my room, I'm in the window glass, in the framed photos, and in the mirror, which means that I can be seen I can be seen reflected upon these reflective surfaces more brilliantly than anywhere else.
So here there are a couple of things in this paragraph. I know it's kind of confusing. What is he trying to say? So one is that we discussed that these qualities are Bhagwan's vibhuti. So wherever they manifest, that's a good thing that you are adjusting it's good to develop these qualities. That's why we should kind of contemplate upon them and go more deep into it and try to develop them. And because life there are negative, positive, everything is there, but we should be hanging on to these things. That's one point. And secondly, he's saying that no matter where they express is Bhagwan's vibhuti, and he was just giving this example. When the sunlight comes into the room, where it can reflect nicely, that's where you see the sun's glory. It can be a window glass, sometime it shines over there, sometime on a frame photo it will shine, or a mirror. All these places are more reflective. So you see, when it falls on some kind of a dull wall, doesn't do much, the sunshine. That's what he's saying. So try to make your surface clean, so I will reflect more. Let's put it this way. That's the best way to say it. That a person, a saint and sage, his mind is like a transparent thing. Ours is all, उसपे dust जम गई है. काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद, मात्सर्य की dust जम गई है. So these people, that's why their mind reflects divinity. As though Bhagwan himself is representing through them, talking through them and expressing through them. That's how we have to look at it, yeah.
It's the clean water and the muddy water.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, that's brilliant, Umaji. That, if it's a clean surface, then sun will reflect better. You know? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what these qualities, when they are reflecting, so the surface has become relatively clean. Yeah.
The Lord again gives 4 more indications to make his self-introduction clear to Arjuna. And that's the next one.
Yeah, so Arjuna asked for it and Bhagwan is on the roll. Saying, you asked for it, I'm going to give you everything. So that's what it is, yeah. Any other comment, question about this before we close Bhagavad Gita? Okay, nothing else and I can close. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya moksha ishyami ma shuchah. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.